What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back for another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Radical Red and today's challenge we're going to continue on our random wheel of random region Pokemon. So this time around we actually got the most recent region. We got Paldean and I was like, this is going to be hard. This is really going to be hard because I'm not too familiar with Paldean Pokemon. And I gotta beat Radical Red hardcore mode using him. So it's gonna be interesting. If you guys don't know, Pokemon Radical Red is a ROM hack of the original Pokemon Fire Red. It's much harder, and additionally, it's a harder mode, a hardcore mode. So it's actually even more tough. It gives a lot of advantages to the computer. Infinite terrain, infinite trick room. We can whatever they want, and we're also limited. We can't use certain abilities, certain moves. Very unfair. We're gonna try to beat it using only Paldean Pokemon. So it's gonna be an interesting challenge run. On top of all that, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thank you so much for leaving a nickname in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off, we're going to obviously choose a Paldean starter Pokemon. That's one thing I like about the mono region challenges. I get to get a Pokemon at the start, and it's a decent Pokemon. We have Quaxly as a Pokemon, which I'll take, mainly because I think it's going to be the best one out of all of them. And you can use rare candies to just boost yourself up to level 16 at the start. This is really nice. There's not a lot of Paldean Pokemon at the start of the game, besides this route down here, which has like 6 of them. So we're obviously going to take that. We're going to use Lechonk, which I really don't use, and I'm glad I don't use because I don't think it's that good of a Pokemon. So we don't use that Pokemon too often, but everyone else, we use a good amount, especially our starter Pokemon. It's actually underrated. It's a duck Pokemon. Quaxly, Quaxcool. We also got a Palmy, which is going to be really good as well. Paldean Toadscool, very good as well. And a Rapska, it's very slow, but it's a strong special attack and special defense stats that's really good for the early game and also mid game. And also Wattrel and Kilowattrel is going to be really good. It's obviously, really fast, really strong. It's electric flying, really good typing. Besides that though, once we get through the first portion of the game, we get through the Viridian Forest and all, we head into Purity City, and we don't want to waste a lot of time getting an egg, so we just take whatever is the best we can get, which is going to be Tauros, Paldean Tauros. It's fire and fighting. It's okay. It doesn't even have moves right now, so you can't use it. So that's the only unfortunate part. But from there, we could face up against Falkner next. Falkner's gonna be the very first mini boss in the game, which we gotta beat up. Which he's gonna unlock the entrance for Pewter City for the gym for us. So once we beat Falkner, it's pretty easy. We could face off against Brock next. Brock's gonna be the first gym leader in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against him using my Quaxly. I actually don't know the middle stage name, but we're going to bait into the leap as we switch out into my Palmy. Palmy's able to get an arm thrust. 2 arm thrust cycles will actually knock out the leap for us, so it's actually really good for us. And from there, he's going to switch out to his Cacnea. I get a Nuzzle off and then arm thrust to knock him out, so we'll take that. From there, he sends out his Hippopotas. It's going to knock me out, but I get a bit of chip damage and then go out to my Quaxly. Aqua Jet to knock him out, and then his Arcane comes out. 2 Aqua Jets will knock him out as his survival wing attack. His next Pokemon after that will be a Lunatone, which I get a nice Aqua Jet into a second one to knock him out, and I'm in Torrent range as I'm able to just 2-shot into the room as well. So from, oh wait, I don't knock him out, but room is at like 1 HP. So I go out to my Rapska, and Rapska is able to extra sensory and knock out the room as we beat down Brock in like 8 minutes, which is crazy. I start the run, 8 minutes in, I beat the first gym. We're gonna face off against the raid dens to obviously get ourselves some citrus berries. From there, we're gonna actually move out into Mount Moon, and Mount Moon, it's pretty simple. At least Tauros is good here. It actually blocks the Will-O-Wisp for us, so we're ready to beat down the scientists in Mount Moon. And also we gotta move out. We're gonna face off against Archer. Archer's pretty easy out here. We make our way into Cerulean City, and we get ourselves a Tatsugiri, which is gonna be a pretty good Pokemon with Storm Drain for the second gym in the game. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Misty. Very close to beating her, but unfortunately, we lose at the end. So we're going to face off against Misty. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Kilowattrel. We're able to get an Electro Ball off against the Politoed and then switch out, predicting the Clocksire, going to my Raps to get an extra sensory. And then from there, I can switch out again because it's always going to switch. She switched out into her Mantine, which I get a Nuzzle off on my Palnut. Palnut's able to go for a Nuzzle and then Spark to knock out the Mantine. From there, the Ludicolo is going to come out and knock me out, but that's fine as I go out into my Tatsugiri. Tatsugiri is able to survive anything pretty well, so I'm able to get Dragon Breaths onto the Ludicolo, hoping for a Paralyze, and we eventually do. From there, I can switch out into my Kilowattrel, which will Air Slash and knock out the Ludicolo for us. From there, her next Pokemon will be a Starmie. I sacrifice my Tatsugiri as I go out into my Bramble, but I'm here just to bait in the Toxicroak as I'm able to get my Kilowattrel out. Air Slash to knock out the Toxicroak as her next Pokemon will be a Starmie. I'm going to sacrifice my Kilowattrel. I'm able to go out to my Bramble to Seed Bomb and knock out the Starmie and also the Politoed. And finally, her last Pokemon will be a Clogsire, which I get a nice Seed Bomb off against, but it's going to go down as my Toedscruel will knock out the Clogsire for us as we're able to beat down Misty. So 2 gym badges down, we're making pretty good time here. As from there, we're going to move on into the Nugget Bridge, clear through the Nugget Bridge, which isn't too difficult at all. And now the biggest attraction to this is that we unlock Charge Cadet. Charge Cadet is going to be a really good Pokemon for us. We're going to get Charge Cadet and evolve it into Ceruledge, which is going to be a really good Pokemon coming up. So from there, we're going to move out into the SSN, which isn't too difficult. We have a pretty solid team, you know, a lot of good Pokemon out here. From there, once we clear through the SSN, we can make our way into the next gym in the game. We're going to face off against Lieutenant Surge next. This is going to show you the power of Ceruledge really easy. So we're going to start the battle off against Lieutenant Surge using my Ceruledge, using a Flame Wheel into the Rotom Frost, and then a Shadow Sneak to knock him out. No damage at all. And then I was about to switch out, but then I realized Ceruledge is, not worry about this thing at all. So Flame Wheel into the Electrode, and then from there I can knock out the Electrode. I can switch out against the Paldean because it's a little scary. Go out to my Kilowattrel, which will go down to the Ice Punch, but my own Paldean will actually dig and knock out his Paldean. From there, his next Pokemon will be a Raichu. It's gonna knock me out, but I go out to my Ceruledge. Does a lot of chip damage with Shadow Sneak, and then from there go out to my Quaxophole, which will actually Aqua Jet and knock out the Raichu for us, and also knock out the Hitmonlee, which is really strong. Ampharos can knock me out, but I go out into my Toedscruel next, knock out the Ampharos for us as we're able to beat down Lieutenant Surge. And 3 gym badges down. Super easy run we're doing actually. So I guess I was wrong on Paldean Pokemon. They're really good. From there, we're going to make our way into the Rock Tunnel and then heal up our Pokemon once we get through the dungeon, because there's one more fight down here. We got to face off against this trainer with a whole Sunny Day team, and it's actually pretty easy. As you can see, just cook it up with Ceruledge. Once again, we got to face off against this Hisuian trainer as well, this Double Battle fight. And of course, you know, we make our way into Cilan City without too much resistance. We make our way into the next gym in the game where we face off against Erica. Erica's gave me the grass type gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Tinkaton, which will Iron Head into the Cradily and flinch it, and then Giga Hammer and knock out the Cradily. From there, she can switch out into her Kartana, which I go for a Rock Smash, looking for a defense drop. Unfortunately, doesn't get that. She's gonna knock me out. I go out to my Ceruledge next, which will actually survive a Grassy Glide, and then Flame Wheel to knock out the Kartana. From there, her next Pokemon will be a Slowbro. I Shadow Claw into it. It's gonna knock me out, but I do a nice amount of damage, which go out to my Quaxophole, which will actually Acrobatics into and eventually knock him out. Okay, it takes 2. I get paralyzed, but eventually it works out. Her next Pokemon will be a Toxicity, which will knock me out. Which I can go out to my Toedscruel, which actually baits in the Hawlucha, which works out as I'm able to Spore it. Go out into my Paldean to actually Thunder Punch into the Hawlucha, survive a close combat, which is very lucky, and I'm able to knock out a Hawlucha as her next Pokemon will be a Sceptile. It's going to knock out my Paldean as it goes to my Kilowattrel, and I'm able to go for an Air Slash. It survived it, but it's going to knock itself out with a Draco Barrage, which we obviously take. And our final Pokemon will be a Toxicity as I go for a Mud Shot, knock him out in one shot as we're ready to beat down Erica. Super easy. From there, we can move out into the game corners underneath basement. Bruno activities in the basement as we face off against Giovanni. It's pretty easy as we make our way into Lavender Town and also up Lavender Tower, where we cleared through all the members up here, all the Team Rocket members up here, and get ourselves the Poke Flute. From there, we can move on into Silph Co and face off against a rival out here. Get lucky that Sleep Powder missed, and we're able to beat him down. As from there, we're going to move on and face off against Archer and Ariana in a double battle fight. Unfortunately, Brendan's AI is terrible, so we actually lose a few times. So I actually lost a lot of time here, but eventually we end up beating him down. And then from there, we can move on and face off against Giovanni. I lost a lot of time here, but he's kind of strong, so I had to switch up my team a little bit. I have a Baxcalibur and also an Earthworm, which will actually just negate any ground moves, so it's actually pretty nice for us. As from there, once we clear through Giovanni, we can make our way into Chuck's dojo. Once we face off against Chuck, we're able to unlock ourselves the Focus Sash, so I mean, obviously we'll take. It's really good for us. As from there, we're going to move on and face off against Sabrina next. Now, Sabrina's gym is actually pretty difficult. We actually lose a few times because I can't actually knock out the Jellicent. So what I decided to do is actually catch myself a Bombardier, which is giving me a Dark and Flying type, and give it the Black Glasses. It's giving me really good. So we're going to face off against Sabrina. We're going to start the battle off against her. She has infinite Mystic Terrain and also infinite Trick Room, so we got to be careful of that. We go for an Aqua Jet on the camera up to start, just to bait out the Tapu Fini's Misty Explosion. So it works out pretty well. All 4 Pokemon go down in the start. From there, I go out to my Bombardier and also my Tauros to put the Intimidate on the Iron Hands and also get a Sucker Punch off against Jellicent. It works out perfectly as we're actually able to just crit down the Jellicent and knock him out with a Sucker Punch. Bombardier goes down, but that's fine as I get a Flare Blitz off against the Iron Hand. From there, I'm able to go out into my Tinkaton, which will fake out into the Iron Hands, and then let my Tauros go for a Flare Blitz and knock on the Magearna. From there, next opponent will be a Glacier, which I'm just going to double attack into with my Tauros and Tinkaton. I survive a Plasma Fist as I'm ready to knock out the Glacier, as our final opponent will be an Iron Hands, and all I gotta do is just switch out to my Ledge, reset the fake out, and then knock out the Iron Hands, which works out really well for us, as we're able to eventually knock out the Iron Hands and beat down Sabrina. Next up, we're going to make our way into Cycling Road, and clear through Cycling was pretty easy, you know. Tinkaton's pretty good. It's actually tanky and actually does a lot of damage, so it's actually really nice. We're also going to unlock the Egg Move Tutor, so we're going to use that for a little bit. We get Miracle on Toadscroll and also face up against Brendan in front of Fuchsia City's Safari Zone. You gotta go through this to get the HM for Surf. There's also a few Pokemon you want to get in here, which is going to be, I believe it's the Amogus. That's like a Paradox Pokemon. Also, Iron Moth is cool. I don't really use it. There's also Tauros in here if you want to use. I also caught myself a Bisharp, which is a Gen 5 Pokemon. It's a Unova Pokemon, but Bisharp evolves into King Gambit in Paldean, so it's actually Gen 9 Pokemon. So King Gambit is a Gen 9 Pokemon, Bisharp is a Gen 5 Pokemon, so interesting how that works. So we get King Gambit for free, as from there we can face off against the first 3 gym leaders because Koga wants to lock himself up in there until we do. So we face off against Brock first. Brock's pretty easy. Ledge is able to clutch for us, and then from there we're going to face off against Misty. Once we beat Misty though, which took a little bit, I'm not going to lie, Misty's a little annoying. Once we beat Misty though, we're able to unlock Finizen. So we got a free Finizen. We don't use it too often, but we face off against Lieutenant Surge. Against Lieutenant Surge, we match up pretty well. Baxcalibur is just so tanky. It takes any hits essentially, and then from there we can move on and face off against Koga himself. So we're going to start the battle off against Koga using my King Gambit. We're going to restart into the Tapu Lele actually misses a Focus Blast. So from there, I get a free kill on the Tapu Lele and Iron Head to knock him out. From there, his next opponent will be a Shiyu. I go for a Metal Burst and I knock him down to his Focus Sash, but he's going to knock me out with another Flamethrower, so that's unfortunate. I go out to my Tatsugiri because it's the only Pokemon in my party that would actually survive any move from this Shiyu. So we're going to go for a Water Pulse and knock out the Shiyu, as his next opponent will be a Hoopa Unbound. I actually let my Tatsugiri go down, go out to my Noxie. It's a Cricket Pokemon. I mean, he's only here just to survive a Focus Blast and then lunge to knock out the Hoopa Unbound in one shot. From there, his next Pokemon was going to be a Nidoking as I go out to my Baxcalibur. Ice Cold Crash to knock him out in one shot, and also I survive an attack against the Toxicity, which is kind of funny. So from there, I'm able to go for a Glaive Rush and almost knock out the Toxicity. As I would go out into my Toadscroll, I'm able to go for an Earth Power and knock him out, as his final opponent will be a Crocodile. I go out into my Tauros to get Intimidate off against him, and also go for a Wave Crash to guarantee the knockout on the Crocodile, as we're ready to beat down Koga. And from there, we can move on and face off against Price next. Price is a pretty easy fight. We do this because we get a Focus Sash from him, and yeah, that's about it. We get a Choice Scarf off against Price, and then from there, we face off against Jasmine, and she also has a Choice Band for us. Again, I'm not too sure why I got the Choice Band. I didn't use it at all, I don't think. From there, we can move on. We're going to make our way into Blaine's gym and then face off against his trainers in here. Nothing too difficult. We got a, King Gambit and Ledge, two of my favorite Pokemon from this region. We also face off against Blaine next. Blaine's giving me the 7th gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Baxcalibur to go for an Ice Cold Crash into Ice Shard to knock out his Sandy Shock, which is a crazy combo. From there, his next opponent is going to be his Charizard. It's Charizard X, I believe. I should have gone for an Ice Shard, but he's going to knock me out with a Flare Blitz as I go out into my Tauros. And Tauros is able to Rock Tomb into the Mega Charizard X 3 times, which is crazy enough. So we're able to beat down the Tauros, and then from there, his next opponent is going to be a Venusaur. I go out to my Ledge because it's actually going to Bitter Blade and just tank everything. So Bitter Blade, survive it, get my HP all the way up, and then Shadow Seek to knock out the Venusaur. His next opponent is going to be his Ho-Oh, which I stayed in and go for a Shadow Claw just to chip him away, and then I switched out to Bombardier to get a Sucker Punch off against. I survived a Secret Fire in the sun from a Ho-Oh. Bombardier is crazy. I'm going to Sucker Punch and knock out the Ho-Oh, and then activate his Phoenix form. Go out to my Tauros to Rock Tomb and knock out the Ho-Oh, as we're to beat down one of the harder Pokemon. From there, his next Pokemon is going to be a Walking Away. He's going to knock out my Tauros, but I do have my King Gambit in the back, which will actually Sucker Punch, knock him down to low HP, and then go out to my Ledge to Shadow Sneak and knock him out. His final opponent will be a Great Tusk, going to knock out my Ledge, but I have a Toadscroll in the back with Giga Drain to one-shot him because he has no special defense at all. So we're ready to beat down Blaine, and now we can move on. We're going to make our way into Cilan Cave, which, nothing too difficult. We just can get our healing items just to I get tired of just depositing my Pokemon in the PC. So, healing items are kind of useful in the field. And from there, we can face off against Archer and Ariana. And you can see from the footage, it's a pretty easy fight. We beat him down on the first attempt. We even get a very lucky flinch with Air Slash on my Kilowattrel. And against Ariana, this is super easy. Again, Sarilege was cooking up the Wailord as well. So from there, we're going to move on and face off against Giovanni. Giovanni's team's okay, at least Lance's AI is actually working for once, as we're ready to beat him down with my Mirror Coat Toadscroll. From there, we can move on and face off against Claire next. Claire's going to be the 8th gym leader in the game, and we're going to start the battle off against her using my King Gambit. We're looking for flinches, didn't get any at all. We get 3 Iron Heads off against the Shuckle and knock him out. From there, her next one will be an Eternatus. I know I can survive a Flamethrower as I Metal Burst into him and almost knocks him out. Sucker Punch is going to knock him out, which is really nice, as the next one will be a Duraludon. I got to keep my King Gambit for the Ultra Necrozma later on. As from there, I'm going to switch out to my Tauros and just sacrifice it to the Draco Meteor. From there, I go out to my Toadscroll, which will actually spore into Duraludon, as she's going to switch out into a Roaring Moon and catch the Roaring Moon sleeping. From there, I'm able to go out to my Kilowattrel, which will actually Volt Switch into the Baxcalibur. I'm able to Ice Shard into him twice. No, I only Ice Shard once, knock him down to low HP, but I go out to my Sarilege, which will Shadow Sneak and knock out the Roaring Moon, and also get nice damage off against Duraludon. Yeah, I get nice 2 hits off against Duraludon. I don't know why I switch out to my Kilowattrel just to chip him down more. Go out into my King Gambit, Sucker Punch to knock out Duraludon, and then from there, she can switch out into a Magearna. I'm gonna go out to my Toadscroll to Spore into him and then just chip him down. He can wake up the first turn, so I'm a Mirror Coat and then knock out the Magearna. From there, her final Pokemon will be an Ultra Necrozma, which obviously I want everything to die so King Gambit's last alive, because this thing has Supreme Overlord as an ability, and it actually raises more power if I have more fallen Pokemon. Sucker Punch will one-shot the Necrozma as ready to beat down Claire. And yeah, it's pretty easy out here. So from there, we're going to move on, catch a bunch of Paldean Legendary. Forgot Shiyu and Shin Pao is just free to get. So we get those 2. We also get ourselves a Walking Wake, which is, Paradox form of Suicune. It's cool. I just don't know how to use it. Also, I can't use its ability at all. It's not that useful for us. As from there, we can move on and face off against our rival once again in round 22. We're ready to clear him down because I'm a King Gambit spammer. As you can see, we do the same thing with Brendan as well. As you can see, I just spam King Gambit. This is my favorite Pokemon. Sarilege, King Gambit, I can't pick between the two. 2 really good Pokemon. I honestly hated King Gambit at the start of Paldean, but then definitely grew on me because of Radical Red. But anyways, from there, we're going to make our way into Victory Road. We find out that Lorelei is using her Water Team, which is, so it's iffy, but obviously, we got to start hunting out for some Choice Scarves. For some reason, my game was tweaking and I couldn't actually reactivate. I had to beat down the raids and I couldn't switch today to change to Genesect raids, so it took a lot longer than I was expecting. But eventually, we get ourselves 3 more Choice Scarves, and then from there, we can make our way into the Elite Four. Our team is going to consist of a pretty interesting one. It's going to be Shin Pao, Fluttermane, surprisingly enough, King Gambit, Toadscroll, Baxcalibur, and Sarilege. It's going to be an all-star roster. As from there, we're going to move on into the first Elite Four member in the game. We're going to face off against Lorelei, and Lorelei is going to be the Water type Elite Four member. She can start the battle off against us using a Ludicolo and Iron Bundle. Actually use my Fluttermane and Baxcalibur. She can target down my Baxcalibur, which is really nice, as we're able to get an Energy Ball off against the Iron Bundle to knock him out. As from there, she can switch out to her Genesect, which is kind of scary. I go for an Icicle Crash against the Ludicolo, switch out into my Sarilege, which works out. Activate my Weak Armor, which will actually get me up, so I'm able to go for a Shadow Sneak to knock out the Ludicolo. And from there, the Genesect is going to knock out my Baxcalibur, which is fine. I go out into my Toadscroll next, as she switched out to her Swampert. I go for a Giga Drain, and for some reason, Toadscroll is unable to knock out the Swampert. 4 times weak. Come on, Toadscroll, you could do better. So Sarilege and also my Toadscroll will go down, but that's actually fine. Even though we're down a Pokemon, we go out to my King Gambit and my Shin Pao. I can Sucker Punch into both of them, so Sucker Punch into Genesect and Swampert to knock out both of them. As our last 2 Pokemon will be Palkia and Dragonite, I go for a Sucker Punch off against the Palkia just to attack it twice, and you can see the power behind these Sucker Punches. Knocks out Palkia from basically half HP. And then from there, against Dragonite, you know how it goes. Double Sucker Punch, break the multi-skill, and then knock him out in the following turn. Easy do it. We beat down Lorelei. Next up, we're going to face up against Bruno next. And Bruno, it's very easy. We're start the battle off against Bruno Urshifu using my Fluttermane. I'm able to go for, unfortunately it didn't work out. I go for a Moonblast. It's going to survive. It's going to knock out my Fluttermane as I go out into my Shin Pao. Shin Pao's able to Ice Shard and knock out the Urshifu and then sacrifice it against the Zacian. Kind of sad, but From there, I got to my Toadscrew to Earth Power and two-shot it as I survived with a Focus Sash. His next Pokemon will be a Hawlucha, which is gonna just knock out my Toadscrew. I'm already down a lot of Pokemon, but you can see the comeback. I got to my Ceruledge. I'm gonna go for a Bitter Blade, Shadow Sneak to knock out the Hawlucha, basically at full HP. From there, he's gonna switch out into his Iron Valiant. I'm like, Bitter Blade into him and then go for another one, get my HP back up into half, knock out the Iron Valiant as the next Pokemon was gonna be in the Necrozma. Go for a Shadow Claw. I know it's gonna activate his weakness policy, that's fine. Get him down to half HP, go out to my Kingambit, Suck Punch to knock out the Necrozma, and finally his last Pokemon will be a Mega Medicham. I Suck Punch into him, almost one-shot him, as he close combat, and I have a Baxcalibur in the back with Ice Shard, so we're able to knock out the Medicham as we're able to beat down Bruno. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Agatha next. Agatha's going to be the third Elite Four member in the game, and we got to restart into she actually just stays asleep with Spore. So this is how I avoided the Stealth Rocks. Of course, she gets the first turn wake. I got to restart into she actually stays asleep. Go out to my Flutter Mane to Moonblast into him twice, and then knock out the Krookodile for us. And then from there, her next Pokemon will be a Victini, which actually was pretty bad for us. Go out into my Ceruledge to Shadow Claw into the Victini. Almost knocks him out. He's gonna knock out my Ceruledge as I go out into my Kingambit. He's gonna Cowtool Cleave. He's gonna knock out the Victini, and from there his next Pokemon was gonna, and their next Pokemon will be a Yveltal. I'm at 1 HP, so I gotta sacrifice my Kingambit. Go out into my Flutter Mane to Moonblast twice into the Yveltal. I went to sleep, which the Dark Hole is kind of annoying, but maybe go for a Moonblast to knock him out. As the next Pokemon will be a Calyrex. Go out to my Shin Pound next, survive a Draining Kiss. And then from there, I can outspeed Night Slash, knocks him out through the Combo Berry without critting it. I don't even understand how that worked. And then from there, I can outspeed the Mewtwo and get a Night Slash off against him as well. Get him down to about half HP, go out to my Flutter Mane to Moonblast and knock out the Mewtwo. Final opponent will be her own Flutter Mane. He's going to knock out mine, but I got into my Toadscrew to Mirror Coat and knock him out in 2 shots. As from there, we're able to beat down Agatha, which, you know, is a unique battle. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Lance next. Lance is going to be the 4th Elite Four member in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Toadscrew. Toadscrew is going for a Spore, obviously, against the Glimmora. Switch out into my Flutter Mane, catch the Arceus Fairy, which is like an oopsie. So I got to switch out. I switch out to my Kingambit. I got to sacrifice Metal Burst to knock out the Arceus, but, you know, this is the reason why I didn't like that, because Dialga is going to come out and I'm like, I don't have an answer for this thing. So I got to my Flutter Mane and then switch out into my Toadscrew. It's getting Earth Power into him, but it's getting Roar Time me back into my Flutter Mane. I Moonblast him, but it's going to knock me out. Ooh, he actually did knock me out with a Flash Cannon. I get 2 Moonblast off. He goes to low HP as I go out to my Shin Pound to Ice Shard into him to knock him out, as the next one will be a Melmetal. I don't want to stay in, so I switch out to my Ceruledge. Ceruledge is able to go for a Bitter Blade and knock him down to half HP. He's going to knock me out, but go out to my Toadscrew. It should knock him out, but he didn't. So Toadscrew again, leaving something at 1 HP. He's going to knock out my Toadscrew as I go out into my Shin Pow. He's going to Icicle Crash into him, which actually works out for us. So Icicle Crash knocks out the Melmetal. Icicle Crash into the Dragonite to knock him out through the Multi-Skill. And his next one will be a Rayquaza, which I outspeed, and Icicle Crash almost knocks him out as he lives with low HP as I go out to my Baxcalibur. Ice Shard to knock out the Rayquaza, and also Icicle Crash twice into the Glimmora to knock him out as we're ready to beat down Lance. And now it's time for the final fight in the game. We're in face off against our rival. We're in face off against Blue. We're gonna start the battle off against Blue using my Toadscrew. Toadscrew's able to go for a Miracle and knock out the Kyogre for us, which is really big. From there, his next opponent was going to be a Xerneas, which is going to knock me out, but I got to my Ceruledge. Shadow Claw into Shadow Claw and Shadow Sneak to knock him out, which is very lucky because Shadow Sneak got a crit. From there, we knock out the Xerneas, as the next one will be a Walking Wake. Just going to sack my Ceruledge there. From there, I switch out to my Shin Pow. Icicle Crash from here actually knocks him out, which is insane. From there, his next opponent is going to be an Arceus Steel. I go out to my Kingambit, which should have gone for a Metal Burst. I don't know why I didn't go for it, but actually, I guess I didn't live in attack, so I couldn't go for a Metal Burst. Works out pretty well as I'm able to get him down to low HP. Go out to my Shin Pound and Icicle Crash to knock out, which I was pretty sure Ice Shard wouldn't kill him. He then goes out to his Eternatus. I was hoping I survive a Draco Barrage, which I do. Icicle Crash to knock out the Eternatus, and his final opponent will be a Swampert. He's gonna knock me out with an Ice Punch for some reason, the little BM, but I got to my Baxcalibur to Glaive Rush into him and knock him down to low HP for my Flutter Mane to outspeed and end it with a Moonblast as we're ready to beat down our rival, as we're ready to clear through Radical Red with a Paldean team. Now, I didn't mention this. You can see that I didn't struggle at all, maybe in Self Code, but that's the only struggle I really had. Under 4 hours. I know I had a speed up button, but under 4 hours to beat Radical Red Hardcore mode, that's like insane. I remember when I took like under 4 hours to beat normal Radical Red. That was impressive. Nowadays, I was speeding through Hardcore mode, but yeah, that'll be the end of my video. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name's been Alpha, and I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.